Good morning and welcome to our community church, Unitarian Universalist. I am Alicia, I am your worship associate, and it is a joy to be with you today. So who are we as Community Church? We are a progressive, open-minded, and inclusive religious community. We welcome all who are on a spiritual search for truth and meaning. Ours is faith in action as we do the work of social justice and elevate compassion in our quest to live ethically, recognizing the inherent worth and dignity of every being. This week, we are very happy to have a returning guest speaker in our pulpit today, who is Leslie Runnels, who is a minister here in New Orleans. Most of us know her well. I encourage you to check your weekly email for announcements. There's several, and I'm also going to bring 3 folks up right now to make some announcements that we have. So we'll start with Sean.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. Today is the last update we'll give you for the annual pledge drive. So the plan every year is we try to wrap up pledging in advance of the Finance Committee crafting the next year's budget and then bringing that to share with the congregation. So we are at the close of that. You may remember our goal for this year's pledge total was $100,000. We are currently at $96,925. So that means our lovely alligator has maybe a couple of millimeters to go on the ladder. The alligator gets to climb a little bit this week, and if we're lucky, say between now and the end of December, I think we might have a few more pledges come in that we are quite happy to accept. So if you intend to give one, it's still very welcome, and hopefully we'll make it to that 100,000 mark. So really quick, I wanted to thank everybody who helped with the pledge drive. So Emma, Marcia, Michelle, Bill all did wonderful testimonials for us at Sunday services. Marianne was very helpful in teaching me the ropes for how to do this. And then Marilyn, Kathy, Bill, hope I'm not forgetting anybody, were also really helpful in providing boots on the ground. And finally, just thanks to everybody for trusting me with the job to lead the stewardship drive. I never envisioned myself being a fundraiser, and then when Marianne said, I'd kind of like to retire from this job, will you do it? I said, okay. Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity, and we'll be glad to do it again next year.
From the Social Justice Committee about a City Council resolution that is supported by Together New Orleans, which is an organization that our church belongs to. The City Council will be voting tomorrow morning on changes to the Community Solar Program. This is different from the Community Lighthouse Project. It's a program to increase the use of renewable energy in the city while reducing the electric bills for consumers. The changes to the program will make the solar projects economically viable, which currently they aren't, so there aren't any. Together New Orleans would like to get as many people as possible to come to the City Council, to come to the session in support and show their support for those changes. They'll be meeting on the steps of City Council tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. and for the 10 a.m. session. If you're unable to attend because you work like I do on Monday morning, you can also submit a public comment online to the City Council. If you want to know more about community solar, or if you have any questions, including how to submit a public comment, please come and talk to me after the service, or there are some flyers with a little bit more information. Thank you.
Good morning. All right, so next Saturday, November the 4th, all members and friends of Community Church and First Church are invited to attend a meeting here in the sanctuary from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. We will be discussing the ways our two congregations can benefit from mutual collaboration and support. The discussion will be facilitated by Reverend Sarah Green, so please plan to attend if you can. Thank you.
We will now open our service with our land acknowledgement. We acknowledge and pay tribute to the original inhabitants of this land. The city of New Orleans is a continuation of an indigenous trade hub on the Mississippi River, known for thousands of years as Bolancha. We recognize that as a result of broken treaties and involuntary removals, Native Americans were often forced from their lands. We remember and pay respect to the communities impacted by these actions. Native peoples have lived on this land since time immemorial, and the resilient voices of Native Americans remain an inseparable part of our local culture. With gratitude and honor, we acknowledge the indigenous nations that have lived and continue to thrive here. And now I will bring up Leslie for our opening words.
Now is the time to free the heart. Let all intentions and worries stop. Feel the joy inside the self. Awaken to the wonder of your life. Open your eyes and see the friends whose hearts recognize your face as kin. Those whose kindness, watchful and near, encourage you to live everything here. See the gifts the years have given, things your effort could never earn, the health to enjoy who you want to be, and the mind to mirror mystery.
Let us now prepare for worship with our chalice lighting. It is Community Church's custom to light a chalice, invoking hope and eternal truth to our worship. Please join in singing We Light This Flame. The words are printed in your order of service.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. You know, it's my time of year, right?
Yes.
So, I'm going to read with you this book that won many awards. It's called Just in Case. And it's about Senor Calavera. At last, the day had arrived. It was Grandma Beetle's birthday. Senor Calavera put on cologne, dusted his hat, ironed his best tie, and pumped the tires of his bike. Grandma Beetle was Senor Calavera's friend, and her last party had been a blast. He would not miss this one for anything in the world. Riding through the neighborhood with glee, he waved goodbye to his friends. Soon he would be at Grandma's, OC. Then a moan beyond the grave, just a minute, nearly had him fall. What a fright. But it was only Zamira the ghost going to Grandma's Beetle's party. Senor Calavera tipped his head. She will be glad that you are right on time, but aren't you forgetting something? Senor Calavera scratched his head. He had done everything he was supposed to do. Unless, quizás, oh my, he had forgotten a present for Grandma Beetle. Don't worry, Zamiro smiled. You surely must know the best present to give a friend is the thing she would most love. Of course, Senor Calavera went looking and chose especially for Grandma Beetle. Now this is also a tale of the Spanish alphabet. So he found un acordeon, an accordion for her to dance, bigotes, a mustache because she had none, coquillas, tickles to make you laugh. See, I got excited about that one. Un chiflido, a whistle he trapped in a bag. The ghost clapped. Your gifts are a vision, Senor Calavera hummed while he tied the presents on his bike. But I wonder, Zamiro said, are they what Grandma Beetle would love the most? Why don't you look again, my friend, just in case? Senor Calavera thought for a moment, and he still had some time, so he searched more and packed dientes, teeth, for a good bite. Un escalera, a ladder to reach past the sky. Una flauta, a flout he made from a branch. And granizado, a cone filled with syrup. Your presence stopped me cold, the ghost smirked in delight. Senor Calavera didn't know he would be so good at finding presents. But I wonder, Zamiro said, are they what Grandma Beetle would love the most? Why don't you look again, just in case? It wasn't late, Senor Calavera realized, so he poked around and he picked una historieta, a one-of-a-kind comic book, instructions to find all things lost, un jaguar, a jaguar to keep her safe. Your gifts moved my soul, the ghost gave a bow. Senor Calavera was ready without a doubt. But I wonder, Zamiro said, are they what Grandma Beetle would love the most? Why don't you look again, just in case? Senor Calavera frowned. Going on time was his job. Still, he hustled and he found una loteria, a lottery game to play with her grandchildren. Una llave, a key to open all doors. Un moño, a bow to tie her hair. Niebla, fog to play hide and seek in. The ghost gasped. Her presence made my heart. The ghost gasped. Your presence made my heart stop. Grandma is going to be surprised. But I wonder, Zamiro said, are they what Grandma Beetle would love the most? Why don't you look again, my friend, just in case? Grandma must already be icing the cake. Even so, she deserves the best. So Senor Calavera sought and chose ñapa, a little extra of everything. Uno ombligo, a bread called a belly button. Un papalote, a kite to play with the wind. 15 años, 15 more years of life. The ghost gave a cheer. Your gifts are to die for. Senor Calavera hopped on his bike. Zamiro took a deep breath. But I wonder, are they what Grandma Beetle would love the most? Why don't you look again, my friend, just in case? Surely Grandma's beautiful grandchildren must already be at the party. Senor Calavera quickly went looking and got, let's see if I can do this one, Rehuela, her favorite childhood game, hopscotch. Una semilla, a seed to plant and grow. Un títere, a puppet made from a sock. Uñas, fingernails, fierce and strong. Your gifts take my breath away, the ghost sighed. Senor Calavera looked at his watch. He didn't want to miss breaking the piñatas. Zamiro studied the presents on the bottom. But my friend, I wonder, he said, are they what Grandma Beetle would love the most? Look again, just in case. Even though it was already late, Senor Calavera ran to pick out Ryanilla, a fragrant vanilla pie, una double V, to have 2 V's, for one is not enough. Una zeografia, a wood engraved art to hang in her room. Yorba buena, a good herb to soothe the day, and nothing more. Senor Calavera had taken too long. He was going to miss the party. He climbed onto his bike and hurried off before Zamiro could ask anything else. Look at Senor pedaling so fast. Oh no. Watch out, Senor Calavera. Oh dear. Poor Senor Calavera. All of his presents ruined. Senor Calavera couldn't believe his misfortune, and now there was no time left to get any presents at all. Except, perhaps, maybe, quizás. When Grandma Beetle was about to blow out the candles on her cake, she heard a knock at the door, and oh my, waiting for her. I'm gonna cry. Senor Calavera, who had brought Grandma Beetle the present she the present she loved the most, Grandpa Zamiro. Happy Halloween, happy El Dia de los Muertos. I hope your loved ones come to see you and remember them always. Thank you. So if you sing with me, cheer out to our read, that would be great. Thanks.
And now is our sacred time of joys and sorrows. If you have a need to share with this community, whether it be expressing something that weighs heavy on your heart these days, or letting us know what reason there is to celebrate, you might write your comment on the cards that Laura is holding in the back. If you are online, you can type into the chat box to be read aloud during the service, or there will be some time to come up to the microphone after our next hymn. You may remain seated for our next hymn, which is 1051 in your teal hymnal, We Are.
Sorry.
and another candle for Lee, one of my classmates who died this week, and he's from Maryland. Laura Miller says it is a great joy to be back here at CCUU seeing friends. Absolutely, thank you, Laura, for being here. And from an anonymous person, we're glad to have Laura come visit us. So see, it all comes full circle. From Jim, sorrow that the people of Maine have suffered a mass killing of innocents. A joy from Jada. My brother Matt turned 30 yesterday. And from Kathy, it is a joy to have a freshly painted atrium and fellowship hall thanks to Bill Fernandez. Is there anyone else who has a joy or a sorrow they would like to share with us this time?
A sorrow. My mother passed away 2 weeks ago, and we held her memorial service yesterday. The last time I came with her here, we did not know it would be the last time. A joy. This entire congregation, everyone here, everyone involved with this congregation, and everything that is good in the world. You all brought so much joy and comfort to the last year of my mother's life. I cannot even tell you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, CCUU NOLA.
Thank you, Robin.
Thank you, Robin. It's very good to see you here with us this week as well. Is there anyone else who has a joy or sorrow they would like to share? So then we will light 2 more candles. One for the joys left unsaid, perhaps still waiting to be shared. And one for the sorrows left unsaid, perhaps that we cannot yet put words to. Know that we love you and that we hold you in our hearts. Community Church Unitarian Universalist is a self-sustaining congregation. Members and friends' generosity help us do the sacred work of bringing justice, spirituality, and compassion to our community and beyond. In addition to giving right now, you can give online at ccuunola.org/stewardship or by text at 504-370-2659. Just text the word give. And you can also send us a check at 6690 Fleur de Lis Drive, New Orleans, Louisiana, 70124. During our offering today, we actually have a holiday-themed video treat for you. We are clearly blessed to be living in the best Halloween town in the United States, if not the world. Our first reading comes from Adrienne Marie Brown, and this was the 2021 St. Louis Racial Equity Summit keynote. We imagine in part by remembering. Every single one of us, if we go back far enough, have ancestors indigenous to a place on this earth, or multiple places for those of us of multiple heritages. These ancestors predate colonization worldwide, and in a multitude of ways, they practice being in relationship to every aspect of the earth and to each other, in responsible stewardship of land and life. For those of us who time and slavery and capitalism and the construct of whiteness have displaced from our original homes and peoples, we must reach to imagine how it might have felt to live this way. Most indigenous people alive today have to navigate and protect their long-held practices and their literal land against the pace and pressure of a modern world at odds with being in relationship. But we can all imagine some future past which lives in our ancestral memory bag, which lives in our DNA. And when we struggle, we can actually find and follow Indigenous leadership. Please join us in singing hymn number 18, What Wondrous Love.
Good morning. Good holiday season to you all. Because it's that time, is it not? We have now entered the holiday season. We start with All Hallows Eve and Days of the Dead and roll into Thanksgiving, also known as Day of Mourning by Indigenous communities, and later into Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Christmas, and a final blast out at New Year's Eve. But first, let's be in the present, right here, right now, on October 29th, nearing All Hallows Eve, and how this season impacts our spiritual faith formation on our journey to collective liberation. This sermon has three parts: the Hallows, the ancestors' ritual, and the family rituals. So we begin with the Hallows. The orange of Halloween dates back to the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain. It is a time dedicated to remembering the dead, including martyrs and saints, who are the Hallows. This is a celebration of honor. When we honor our loved ones, our ancestors, and our hallowed people, where we honor death and grief. Samhain was the feast day of the Celtic New Year. When Christianity took over Britain, the church incorporated their holy days into the pagan calendar and renamed Samhain All Hallows Eve, the evening before the church's Feast of All Saints and All Souls Day. And this makes sense. All the saints, the martyrs, the ancestors, the souls, all collected together to be honored. The people continued to practice their rites of calling upon the spirits of the ancestors, building their bonfires and altars to the dead. They also believed that other spirits roamed the earth on this sacred night of Halloween, and they had rituals for warding off the bad spirits, including dressing up the spirits themselves to fool the bad spirits into thinking they were one of their own. They made offerings of food and treats to ward off unwanted trickery from those less than benevolent spirits. This is why we say trick or treat when we go trick or treating. And what does it mean to be an ancestor? How do we become an ancestor? First, we must be conceived or created, and then we are alive. And whatever form that takes, for however many hours, days, or years we may live. And at some point, we die. And then we are an ancestor. Some of us die young, and therefore some of our ancestors are younger than we are. Some of our ancestors may never have been born, but they are part of our collective ancestors. We honor all of our ancestors at this time. Some of our ancestors are not related by blood, and we do not know the names of all of our ancestors, whether they are blood relations or not. We honor all of our ancestors at this time, so that they know, we know, they are ours, and we are theirs. We might have complicated relationships with some of our ancestors. We are all complicated beings. And our ancestors were not perfect beings. We honor all of our ancestors at this time so that we can heal those relationships little by little. Now is the time when a veil is thin between the worlds, for us to center around the acknowledgement that our loved ones are here with us in spirit. When we reinforce the importance of remaining connected to our beloveds who have died, as well as the impermanence of life and the persistence of love and connection that continues across multiple dimensions. The ancestor ritual. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We will now enter into a ritual together of calling in our ancestors. We will name the ones we know by name and welcome the others who come. We will start with those closest to us and then widen our circle to collect as many as we can. If during this ritual you feel sad or scared or angry or indifferent, just know that that is okay. Let's take 3 deep inhales and exhales together. We are settling in and settling down to call in our ancestors to honor them and to heal any relationships that need special love right now. For each grouping of ancestors, I will prepare you for who we are calling in. And when I say, welcome in your ancestors, please begin to call them in. Say their names aloud or just in your heart. I will give you time and silence to think of them. As more names come to you, continue to speak them into the space or into your heart. Once a group of ancestors has been welcomed, I'll ask a few questions to consider with them, and then we will call in the next group of ancestors. We begin with the names of the ones closest to us, who we knew well, perhaps mothers, grandfathers, siblings, a dear child, a favorite aunt. Begin with those and continue the naming. Welcome in your ancestors. Now that your ancestors are here, privately share your messages of love with them and how you have missed them and how you remember them. If you have a question for them, ask them now and listen for their answer. If there is an apology, let it be said or heard. We now call in ancestors that are not blood or family relations, but are near and dear to us. Perhaps our ancestors from this congregation or from our larger community. Speak their names and call them closer. Who have we recently lost that we want to come close for us to honor them? Welcome in your ancestors. What love do you want to share with each other? What questions or answers do you have for one another? We also invite in our mentors, our martyrs, our saints, our movement leaders that while they may not be kin, we call ancestors because their work and play made us who we are. They may be artists, thinkers, authors, dancers, teachers, activists, scientists, healers. You know who they are. Let's speak their names and bring them in with honor and gratitude. Welcome in your ancestors. What messages of gratitude do you have for them? What messages of love, pride, and encouragement do they have for you? Our sanctuary is filling with ancestors surrounding us. Returning to our familial ancestors, we reach out a little farther, calling in our distant ancestors. Most likely we won't know their names. They may be from different continents where we may have never been, but they are part of our history and they are welcome here. Remember that the veil is thin now, and they are close by. Welcome in your ancestors. What healing messages do they have for you? What healing messages do you have for them? Know that these messages may come in slowly through images and thought. When you receive these images, don't try to talk yourself out of what you are seeing or thinking. Communication with our ancestors happens in many ways. And now, while the veil is thin, we get to listen more closely to each other. Let us listen. We now have a sanctuary full of our ancestors, our beloveds, gathered with us while we honor them. While they are still with us, gathered together in love, remembrance, and honor, let us enter into a moment of collective prayer in the form of a queer morning blessing. Alicia will invite you to some physical movements, and I'll share the blessings.
Caress your eyes.
Blessed are you, awakener, life of all worlds, who removes sleep from our eyes and slumber from our eyelids.
Feel your feet upon the solid ground.
Blessed are you, generous creatrix, who stretches forth the earth upon the waters.
Receive light. Take in your surroundings.
Blessed are you, sacred flame, who illuminates and shines upon everyone and everything.
Dust off your shoulders. Run your hands across your limbs. Touch the fabrics touching you.
Blessed are you, holy fashion designer, who delights in the way we dress ourselves as altars.
Move from tightness to stretching wide.
Blessed are you, liberation worker, who moves us to stretch and expand towards freedom.
Feel yourself.
Blessed are you, divine apple orchard, who delights in our delight and is praised by our pleasure.
Touch your heart.
Blessed are you, nameless and infinite, who made us in your image and reminds us that all bodies are sacred and holy.
Place a crown upon your head and lift your chin.
Blessed are you, wings of gold, who crowns my people, all people, with splendor.
Take a breath that fills your whole body. Hold it for a moment and let it out.
Blessed are you, holy breath, who fills us with this gift every day.
Open your palms in front of you.
Blessed are you, abundance, who helps us remember we have everything we need.
Let your body move as it wants to move.
Blessed are you, the way, who meets us where we are.
Close your eyes and rest.
Blessed are you, source of life, who we draw on for strength and who reminds us that rest is a sacred act.
Embrace yourself.
Blessed are you, fabulous one, who loves us just as we are.
Place your hand somewhere that needs extra love.
Blessed are you, weaver of being, who shaped the human being with wisdom, making for us all the openings and vessels of the body. It is known that we are miracles and all bodies are miracles. Blessed are you, you of many names, for revealing infinite paths of healing. And now it is time to thank our ancestors for joining us, and we can release them to go on their way. They are never gone, always near and always dear. Their messages for us may come again and anew over the days and weeks to come. Travel well, dear ancestors. You are loved. Family rituals. Now that we have honored our ancestors, we can play with all the fun, spooky stuff that happens at Halloween. Those rituals that connect us to each other at this time of year. In preparing for this worship service, I asked some people about what makes this time of year so special for them. What I learned was that these family rituals span over time and connect us to our ancestors. One person told me about how they went with their grandfather to go cut hay. They were on the farm. Not just to go on a hayride, but to go cut hay. And now when they go on a hayride, they are connected back to their pop-pop. So I'm curious. Raise your hands if you have ever been on a hayride at Halloween. What about going to a pumpkin patch to pick out a pumpkin and carve it or paint it? How about bobbing for apples? Has anybody done that? Do we still do that? Yeah. Has everyone been trick-or-treating? Dressing up, making a costume, and you get back home and you have lots of candy and you divide it up and you show your siblings and friends all what you got. Did you eat too much of it? Get that little tender tummy? What about playing some tricks? Anyone do that? Get up to a little mischief? A few of you are naming it, claiming it. I see you. One friend told me about how when they came downstairs in the morning to make coffee, they pulled out the coffee pot and it was full of those black plastic spiders. Right before she like shook it. I would have dropped it. I know I would have. But you know, those moments of mischief are really good for us. They move us out of our comfort zones into scary moments where we get to see that we survived that moment of fear and upset, and we get to laugh about it. I remember when I used to bartend, my coworker would put those black plastic roaches in the money drawer. So I'd go, I'd bring up my order, and the drawer would ding open, and I would see the roaches holler, scream, slam the door, all to their utter delight. So I began to expect it and open the door slowly. So they learned to hide the roaches in the money so that I would go to make change, and if I pulled out a couple of fives, a roach would come flying too. Hilarious, creepy, silly, funny, and that coworker, my dear friend Gary, is now an ancestor. So that story connects us at this time of the year. All right, what about scary Halloween movies? Is that a tradition for some of you? A few. Can't wait to watch that favorite horror flick or scream with delight. Yell at the silly characters who seem to not know how to get out of the way of trouble. I can barely watch the trailers. I'm ready for that to be done. I've also heard from friends about doing moon rituals. Do any of you do that at this time of year? Yeah. Or do you visit the cemetery or the places that your beloveds rest at this time of year? Do any of you tend to an altar? Do you play some music? Drum the drum, dance the dance. I want to share with you a few of my newer rituals that I do at this time of year to connect with my beloved dead. I love to do a fire gaze. This can be done with candles, a campfire, or a bonfire. Fire is a natural meditative tool that helps me relax and move within. The mesmerizing dance of flames, the colors of oranges and reds and blues, the warmth and comfort supports my meditative process. This time of year, fire makes it easy for me to access those sacred liminal spaces between the physical and the spiritual, where I can be with those beloved. And I'm learning to use this fire gaze work to work with some of my more complicated relationships with ancestors. But because we are still under a burn ban here in Louisiana, where marsh fires and fog have joined to make a super fog that has taken the lives of many travelers on our interstates, I won't do my campfire this year in honor of those new ancestors to people who are grieving their sudden loss. I have other rituals that I will do. I have an altar that I give a little extra time and attention to. There's pictures of family, of ancestors, gemstones, rocks, Mardi Gras beads, pine cones, jewelry, bowls of dirt and water. I clean up the altar a little bit. I say hello to my people. I might pick a stone or two from my pocket to put on my desk. Sometimes I write a letter to an ancestor. But what I've learned is that what I like to do is think of an ancestor and do a piece of artwork with them in mind, however complicated the relationship is. Another ritual I've done that I love is a silent supper. For a silent supper, you create your loved one's favorite food or your own from your family traditions. And the whole part of it is the ritual, figuring out what to cook, doing the shopping, the chopping, the eating, the cleaning. And you set the table with a space for your beloved ancestor to join. And you place some of the food on their plate as an offering. You eat in silence with mindful, slow eating, checking in with all of your senses, the textures and smells, taste, sights, temperatures, all while listening inwardly for any communication from my ancestors. Earlier, we got to visit with our ancestors, calling them into our space. This congregation has a host of ancestors to be with you on your journey. I hope you got to feel some of their encouragement, their support of your work and play. This congregation has been supported by many through the years, through the storms, and through the pandemics. Our rituals and traditions keep us connected with each other, to our ancestors, and to our descendants. Some of you are going to remember Edgar Allan Poe's Gothic short story, The Raven. Anybody remember this? A few? I loved it when I was younger, long before goth girls was a thing. The speaker of the poem is reminiscing about his lost love, the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels named Lenore. He tells us, he is nearly napping. Suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. 'Tis some visitor, I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. Only this and nothing more. But he keeps trying to find the source of this gentle rapping, and finally he opens up a shutter, when, with many a flirt and flutter, in there stepped a stately raven of the saintly days of yore. He's bemused with this raven, and he wants to know the raven's name, and says, "Tell me what thy lordly name is on the night's Plutonian shore." Quote the raven, "Nevermore." I ask you now to be my ravens in this little litany, to repeat the word of the raven, nevermore. My question to you, will this congregation forget our ancestors and ignore their messages? Quote the raven, nevermore. Will we shy away from our spiritual work, our spiritual growth, our spiritual play? Quote the raven, nevermore. Will we be a congregation who forget to turn our clocks back next Saturday? Quote the raven, nevermore. That's right. Will this congregation sit silent in the face of systemic oppression? Quote the raven, nevermore. Thank you. And thank you to the ancestors who joined us today. Amen, Ashe, and blessed be.
Will you please join in reciting our chalice extinguishing words? We extinguish the chalice here, that it might glow gently in our hearts. May it light your path as you leave this place. May it guide your way until we are together again.
A reminder that in hard times, our ancestors in faith acted with courage to bring hope and safety, to bring life itself to threatened people. With courage and faith, we bring ourselves to the work before us. May your week be filled with light, love, and ancestral blessings.
Please join us for our postlude. I'm also talking to the projector, asking it to join us for the postlude. Hopefully we can see that. The words for our final hymn, Will the Circle Be Unbroken, are up here on the screen. The tune should be familiar to most of us. If it's not, that's okay. You can still sing as loud as you want. Please stand as you're really able.